champ, but the King was on the Road Trippin' podcast and said that's not the case. Here's King James.
You know, when you've been building 6 months of conditioning, and preparation, and then like everyone's been like the thing that haven't been the narrative that I don't like, well, now guys get so much rest, or like LeBron, he's 35, he got so many minutes on his body, now he gets so much rest. It's actually the opposite for me, because my body, when we stopped playing, was asking me like, what the hell are you doing?
All right, so the Lakers have the second best record in the NBA, a 5.5 game lead right now in the West. Always good to see our friend Jay Williams and have him here with us. Max, I'm starting with you on this. Are the Lakers helped, or are they going to hurt by having this long layoff?
They're helped by it in the long run. In the short run, let me start by saying this. You know how I talk about load management, how wise it is of Kawhi, how LeBron used to basically do some version of it, at least in terms of not playing defense in the regular season and gearing up, making sure he had enough gas in the tank for the playoffs. I think it's reasonable to assume that the future will exist. You know, that like, yeah, we will have a season, I'll be able, and to base your predictions about what's going to happen on what usually happens, which is you have a normal season. So Kawhi was smart to do it, and LeBron used to be smart to do it. However, there's something to be said for letting it all out every day, leaving it on the court, which is what LeBron did this year for the most part. He eased up on the defense at times, you know, after the All-Star break, but for the most part, he left it all out there. Because you're not promised tomorrow. So, like, what you did is what you did. So here I think LeBron is helped because, yes, he gets a rest. Now, if they were jumping right into the playoffs, I'd agree with LeBron. Not only for his body, and he would know more about that, obviously, than me or anyone else, but for his teammates, because of what he does relies on rhythm and timing and getting that group of guys on the same page. But they're going to have a little ramp to get to the playoffs because the local TV money doesn't kick in until you get to 70 regular season games. So they will have at least that many. You know, you'll have a chunk of games to gear up for the playoffs, get his body right, get his team on the same page, and the rest is obviously going to do better for a 35-year-old who's gone all out this year than for a lot of others. Meantime, he got all the production, and his team has the record based on his hard play all year. I think it benefits Lakers and LeBron.
Well, first of all, I'm going to lean on the expertise of LeBron James, who I think knows his body and knows what it takes better than most people that have played in NBA history. If he says that, you know what, it's actually a negative because it disrupts the rhythm, the flow, and all the things that you put into training over the last 6 months for this moment, then I'm going to side with LeBron James. Another person I'm going to side with, Max Kellerman, is Irvin Magic Johnson, who came on this show yesterday and educated us about the fact that the biggest beneficiaries of this may be the Los Angeles Clippers, not just because of the greatness of Coach Doc Rivers in managing, even though this is a situation that nobody ever imagined having to manage, and we understand that. But if anybody's equipped to do it mentally, emotionally, and what have you, it would be a Doc Rivers. You couple that with the injuries that have been sustained by the Paul Georges of the world. Even Patrick Beverley had nicks and knacks. And then, of course, Kawhi Leonard, who obviously engaged in load management because you had some things to be concerned about as it pertained to his health. When you have an opportunity to avoid exposing your body to the level of attrition and wear and tear that a regular season comes with, and you're able to ultimately get a break from all of that, this supposedly benefits Kawhi Leonard, because if anybody's experienced over the last couple of years in taking games off, it would be him. And so you have that combined with Paul George, with Doc Rivers coaching and motivating his teams, with a guy like Ty Lue, who's a lead assistant on your bench, who, by the way, used to coach LeBron and knows a thing or two about some of the things that he would do, even though Phil Handy, being with the Lakers, certainly is an assistance as well. But then Sam Cassell, knowing the game the way that he knows the game, their coaching staff, combined with the rest, combined with the level of load management they were already exercising, you take those things into consideration, I would say that the Clippers are the bigger beneficiaries. Not to say that it's been a negative for the Lakers. Ultimately, I think it'll be just fine for them too. But I think the biggest beneficiaries of all of this are the Los Angeles Clippers.
So, guys, I only played one season, and Stephen A., I couldn't agree with you more in your comments. I only played one season, so I didn't get a chance to feel or have my body train for the playoffs when it makes that turn in April. But I have been around a lot of great players who have heard a multitude of conversations about this. And for a guy like LeBron James, you know, being 35 years old, that last game they had against the Clippers. Now, I know fans can say, well, you know, the Clippers won the 2 before that. Who really cares? But I think for the Lakers, that was a monumental game because they showed that LeBron could operate at a very high level and AD could operate at a very high level to get a win against a team like that. So LeBron making this turn into the playoffs, guys, if you listen to the podcast, like that, this is when his body, this time of the year, recognizes it's time to go up a notch. It's time to go to a different level. All the training has been accumulating to get to this point, to make that quick turn, to take it into a different stratosphere. Now having this time off, what that does for your body's saying, what the heck are we doing? Why are we not competing at the highest level? You can't really reciprocate that training in an individual workout. So I would agree with you, Stephen A., wholeheartedly. I think this hurts the Lakers because I think they were actually finding their stride. They were finding their rhythm. And Max, there's nothing that is written in stone about them having play-in games before they get to the playoffs. This is all fluid. When they have a short window, if their window becomes shorter and shorter to play, we might need to go right into the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying they can't find that rhythm in the first round, but who knows what the playoff breakdown will be. So I think this is to a disadvantage for the Lakers having this time off, whereas I think that's for an advantage. And I agree with you, Stephen A. Smith, with the Clippers.
Couple things. One, given the amount of money in these local deals, I would be shocked if they go right to the playoffs. They will get, how many games are they at now? They need another 9 or 10 or whatever it is games. I'd be shocked if those games weren't played to get to the 70-game threshold so teams
about
get
17
paid.
games left in the season,
everyone in the league.
About 17 games left in the season.
So to get to 70.
We're all shocked they suspended the season. We're shocked about that.
Right, but to get to 70 games. In other words, if you can play the playoffs where there's less money for a lot of people than there is.
James spoke extensively for the first time yesterday since the NBA suspended its season a little over 2 weeks ago. He was a guest on the Road Trippin' podcast with, among others, our friend Richard Jefferson, who's going to join us in our next hour. LeBron explained some of the challenges the NBA faces as it hopes and tries to get back on the court, especially if the games were to resume without fans in the arenas.
Having a game without fans is just what is sport? What is the word sport without fans? There's no excitement. There's no crying. There's no joy. There's no back and forth. There's no rhyme or reason that you want to go on a road and just dethrone the home team because of their fans and vice versa. Like, that's what also brings up the competitive side of the players, to know that you're going on the road in a hostile environment. And yes, you're playing against that opponent in front of you, but you really want to kick the fans' ass too.
That's LeBron with RJ. And here is a guy who knows a little bit about sparring with Richard Jefferson a little bit. It's our buddy Jay Williams is with us. Jay, what did you think of that? These comments from LeBron about playing in empty arenas?
Well, I understand what LeBron was talking about. Obviously, playing with fans can bring out a different kind of energy, and you can respond to that if you have a moment of being tired mentally or physically. But then I would disagree with him because, you know, as hard as it is to manufacture your own energy, if you're playing in an arena without fans, Greeny, I would think and ask every NBA player, every athlete, implore them to be reflective of the times that we're in, right? So yes, it is hard to manufacture your own energy, but at the same time, it's hard for my next door neighbor who's pregnant, who's about to have a kid in this environment, right, where her husband can't go into the hospital with her. It's hard when you see thousands of people staying outside hospitals waiting to get tests. So if there's one bastion of hope that we have as fans, is please take our mind away from what's happening currently in the world. And if the hard part for players is to play in an arena with no fans, then we have to do that. We need to do that because us as fans, we need our superstar players to lead the effort to take our minds away from this horrific place that we're in as a society right now. That's what we need, Greeny. So if the time comes up, I really hope that LeBron and everybody, as hard as it may be, they step up and they bring that energy. They bring that kind of excitement to the game that we all expect them to have, because this is what we need from them. This is what we need from LeBron James and all the great leaders in sports. Who cares about fans right now? We need you on the court. We need you on the fields to be the best at what you can do. As a fan, that's what I'm in dire need of.
I so agree with that, and that's so well said, Jay. And you know, Adam.
Take on LeBron's MVP status. Listen up.
The kind of weekend that LeBron had this weekend, the way he played against Giannis, and then what he did for you guys tonight, what kind of message does that send?
MVP. Good. MVP. I mean, what he's been able to do, taking on